Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Monday morning warm-ups. And if you are joining us maybe for the first time, please let us know where you're coming from. And if you're joining us for the 400th time, also you can let us know where you're coming from. It is equally nice to see you all. Okay, let's start with a little bit of breathing. Just being aware of what you feel when you breathe in and what happens when you breathe out. So good morning to everybody. Welcome to Monday morning warm-ups. Great to see you all. It's very nice to get so many people from all over the world. So please tell your friends to come. If you haven't got any friends, just tell any acquaintance that you run into on the street. That should be fine too. Same thing, breathing and blowing through the mouthpiece. So breathe through your fingers and then through the mouthpiece. The same feeling on the exhalation. And if you have a little bit of head spins, that's totally normal. Okay, we're starting on middle C, so concert F. No articulation, we're just going to play 2 with no articulation and 2 with articulation, just focusing on replicating that same movement a bit. Terrific. So really nice and simple to start with. For me, I do not want to focus on how I sound at the beginning of the session. I want to focus on how am I breathing, how am I blowing, am I matching that up with what I'm doing away from the horn, and am I putting that into the horn? So it's really important. That's the quickest way that I'm going to get to better quality sound, rather than trying to get a nice sound from the beginning. I'm not expecting my face to be able to respond very quickly at the beginning of the session, so moving the air, setting up the mechanism is the important thing from the beginning. All right, let's start with a little bit of, actually we can go buzzing, why not? I'm going to mix it up a little bit, so we're going to start with sort of around the middle register. So again, what's important is not that you're focusing on the quality of your buzz or that you can trying to control your buzz. It's just that you're moving air. So if you run out of air halfway through, that's good. If you're not running out of air, that's not necessarily great. It's not necessarily bad, but just check that you're moving your airstream. Jeff Nelson, good morning. Jeff has
Good morning.
after a short hiatus. Jeff is back, and it's great to see you, Jeff. And Jeff is going to give us an exercise because this is just what Jeff does. Yeah, that Jeff.
Can't wait for tonight.
Sorry?
That sounded weird. I said I can't wait for tonight.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes, I hadn't forgotten. I
Right?
promise.
Me neither.
Yeah, I'm sure. Jeff, you if this sounds cryptic, Jeff will fill you in at the bottom of the hour. There you go. Sound like a
He's
radio.
coming to IU tonight. Invested musician at IU. Yay! Everybody. Yeah. Have him come, you know.
All right. I'm coming for you, Jeff. Don't worry. Terrific. So I'm getting quite lightheaded doing this one because I'm just focusing on moving the airstream. So that's totally fine. For those of you who don't have your pictures on the screen, it would be lovely. It's great to see you. But no pressure. But I mean, you do look better than your name. That is for sure. And for those of you who I can see, you look amazing. It's very impressive. How at 8 o'clock in the morning you're also presentable. It's very, very good. All right. Descending chromatics. So again, continuing to focus on how you're moving the air, not listening, just focusing on the process of breathing and blowing and getting that relaxed into the horn. Excellent. Russ, I just saw your message in the chat. Thank you very much for that reminder. It's very kind of you. It's actually been very challenging having the Miami Dolphins actually being a team that can actually play this season, because it sort of ruined my fantasy football. It was a very easy choice to just pick any defense that was playing against the Dolphins, but this year actually they're transformed, which is quite confusing. But Whitney Crockett, who is our principal bassoon at the LFL and also a faculty member of Invested Musician, is a huge Dolphins fan. So it's nice to see Whitney, having known him for 9.5 years, it's nice to see him finally with a smile on his face. The first time in 9.5 years that Whitney's actually smiled. So that's pretty good. All right, heading back down, repeated note pattern. So again, this is the idea, is to move the air as freely as we possibly can, nice and simple. Take the mouthpiece, we're going to blow it through the mouthpiece. So we're just breaking up one stream of air into little blocks, but the tongue is just cutting the airstream. We talk a lot about articulation. We have done in the master course. So the idea is that the tongue is as little interrupting as possible in the air, and the air is staying very stable. So is that better? Can everyone hear me clearly enough? It's okay? You're fine? Okay. Just let me know if you can't hear me. It could be an advantage for you. All right, starting on concert C, low G. And just something that we can think about. We've been talking a lot about that this particular thing in the last couple of weeks in the fall program. If you feel as though you're instigating the start of the note from here rather than here, this is going to be you're going to be able to utilize this good breathing, good blowing. If we breathe in well and then focus on trying to make things speak from here, we can tend to sort of block our airstream. So if we feel as though the note starts from here, and that's where you're instigating everything from, just something to play around with. Remember, don't trust anything that I tell you. Always test it, right? What are we up to? F sharp. this exercise is really great if you're playing Shostakovich 5, the low one as an excerpt. And we can play this stopped or bent. So if you play it on a fingering a semitone higher than the pitch and just bend that down, anything in this register that is going to create, resistance and difficulty is going to help build strength in the low register. Farkas talks about this in his book, about having to really feel as though you're sort of grooving these low register notes. So for me, low register is not something that is, well, as everyone would be aware, having heard it for a while, my low register is not my greatest strength, but it is also the thing that I spend the most time practicing for that exact reason. And I find if I don't do a lot of repetitions and a lot of loud stuff in the low register, it's sort of like, digging a hole at the beach when you're near the shoreline. Like, it just ends up filling in after about 2 seconds. So I need to keep digging. It's a constant work in progress, otherwise it vanishes. My upper register, I don't have that issue. But the low register, and I think for most people in the low register, if we don't keep sort of bashing the groove on a pretty consistent basis, we're going to lose that strength. So stopping is really good because it's way more difficult. And if you've got a really dodgy practice mute, that's also really great down there because it makes it way more difficult. So I do a lot of low register practice in front of the, don't tell anyone this, but I actually practice my low register in front of the TV sometimes. I mean, that's not true. Actually, it is very true. Yeah, normally, when I'm watching sport's a good one to practice my low register. But just focusing on moving the air and keeping nice and stable down there. Terrific. Anne-Marie, we will come to you after this next one, if that's okay. I'm excited to learn something today. All right, let's move up a little bit. We're going to just go, it's very, very simple repeated note pattern scales. Trish, that's a terrific question. For me, always the blowing is through the back of the mouthpiece. What we find when we blow through the back of the mouthpiece is not only do we get the air purely through the, purely flowing with a little bit of resistance, we're gradually building resistance so that when we get to the horn, it's not such a shock. But also it places your corners in a really terrific position, nice and close together and forward, and it gives you a nice cushion in your lips. So if you just then turn the mouthpiece around, then you're in good shape, right? So we're just going to blow this scale pattern through the back of the mouthpiece. And if you pass out, the first person to pass out wins a prize. No. So it's that feeling, and just being conscious of feeling how open this is in here, engaging from just below the bottom of your ribs with the airstream, and when you're breathing in, nice and low and around, so that you're just aware of that, and then you put that into the horn. So we're going to go starting on a concert G, exactly the same feeling. Just put that air into the horn, see what happens. I start to get confused because I can't remember what I did before. Um, and of course, ordinarily I would continue, but unfortunately, we're out of time for this particular exercise, and we will need to move on to something else. Okay, one more, just for you guys, just to prove that last week wasn't a fluke, even though it was. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. Try the shrimp. Terrific. Thank you. Look, that's been a work in progress, and I'm glad that I'm starting to conquer my demons. Anne-Marie Cherry, good morning. Oh, I don't know if we can hear you. This would be bad. I probably should have done a sound check before this. If I was in any way professional, I would have. We still cannot hear you, which is. Try that. Oh, something. There was something. No, nothing. Nothing. Maybe just yell really loudly. That'll help. Okay, this is exciting. Nothing either. No. Maybe I should have tried this for F sharp major in the past. That would have been the best way to do it. Like, that would have been great. You see, I could have done that, and you guys would have thought I was amazing, and then nothing would have happened. We still don't have anything. Maybe go into your settings. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Actually, we'll jump to Jeff, because Jeff looks very engaged.
Oh.
Oh, hello. Okay, Jeff. What have you got for us, Jeff? Jeff, if for anyone who doesn't know Jeff, which means that you probably have been living on another planet for the last 20 years or so. But for those of you who, who have been living under a rock. Jeff Nelson is Canada's greatest export. There you go. And member of Canadian Brass, horn professor at the Jacobs School of Music at University of Indiana, and all around rock star and good guy. But the thing is that Jeff's main claim to fame actually has nothing to do with music. And as for those of you who were here a few weeks ago, you will realise that Jeff is the world's greatest horn-playing magician. And that's a title that actually, you know, that has been bestowed upon him by many. See? Here we go. See? This is it. Just made a ball bearing disappear, just like that. And
all I could find in the room. I couldn't. Coins.
Now it's stuck in his horn. All right,
Well,
morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Andrew. How's it going? Nice scale. Amazing. Okay, I have a few rules. First, good morning, everybody. Hi. I'll be real quick. One rule about this TV watching and playing horn. It's super dangerous, because if you do it while watching sports, then you have to watch Netflix later. So I think I do it watching the Vikings and other, anyway. But the other good thing about playing with TV is that now the horn becomes a part of you. So I want to also celebrate it, but don't tell anybody else. But you start just making sound while having your mind on other stuff, instead of, okay, wait, world, stop, let me blow into this foreign thing, all that stuff. So some TV playing, just maybe a couple hours a day, would be really good. You also end up doing more horn playing if you watch a show, or if you're into sports. I was an Edmonton Oilers fan, so we don't talk about sports. I was a Montreal Expo fan too, so we really don't talk about baseball. Okay, quick exercise. I called it, last time I was here, I did one I call long tunes instead of long tones. It's a long tone with a tune. This one's called longer tunes, because I only know 2 exercises. This is the other one. My student Emma, who is here, is nodding a lot right now. Okay, so this is the other one, longer tunes. It's all on the natural horn, and it's what I call next notes, and you're just going to the next note, and it's basically the next step of any lip involvement. The first one is one note. The second one is major scales, especially F sharp. It's the greatest ever, I've heard. I didn't even try to play it. And then the next one is next notes. So we'll start on a concert F, and I'll play it once. We're just going up the octave, but the goal is to just maybe change your angle of air and other things other than your lip muscles to change notes. And if you miss any notes in this, chances are that you're doing too much, actually. So less is more. Kind of go to the next note. I'll play it once as far as the structure. 2, 3. That's it, all on open F horn. And then we'll go down by half steps, okay? And then you can add articulations in a second. Ready? 2 and 3 and and then you guys play. Okay, down 1 half step. You can play with me if you want. Yeah, I'll play along with me. We'll just go down by half steps. Concert E, 2 and 3 and two, and breathe anywhere. we'll go down to 1 and 2. This time we'll add an articulation. Articulation is the thing you add to everything else. It's not, no, it's the lowest thing on the thing, on the scale priority thing. My mother sent me an email with a bunch of funny things. Oh, I think I said this last time, but it was the last thing I want to do is hurt you, but it's still on my list. So the least important thing is articulation, but it's super important. It's on the list, but we add it to everything else, which is why I think Andrew starts with all this breathing and sound production stuff. We're gonna go 1 and 2, and we're gonna articulate every 4th note or every set of 3. So I'll show you quick. And the goal, if you're doing this later, is to keep it feeling pretty much the same as the totally slurred one. And one way I cheat is I go oh, that one wasn't very clean. So I add a little bit more space. And that's either cheating or cheating's allowed, one or the other. Or there is no cheating. And then try and close that gap before the articulation in whatever way. 1 and 2, that same thing, articulate every 4th note. 2 and 3 and go down to thumb 2 and 3 and articulate every note, but as legato as possible. And you can experiment with mouthpiece pressure. I use more mouthpiece pressure to clean up my articulation. Good morning. I'm on the West Coast as well, so it's 8 for me too. Okay, ready? 2 and 3 on the F horn. Articulate every note, but just crisp, almost like a slur over a staccato note. At least that's how I see that marking. 2 and except changing notes. Good. 1 and 3, same thing. Let's go back up to concert F and do that same articulation. See how it might be a little bit easier, a little bit higher. So articulate everything. Concert F, middle C, 2 and 3 and. We'll just do 2 more, those same notes with tenuto and like a little separation between them. And then the last one we're going to do is staccato. That same phrase, regardless of what the articulation is. So a little bit more separation this time, more like. Okay, 2 and 3 and. And now the staccato one, the phrasing of Till Eulenspiegel, one of the greatest mysteries on how to explain the technique. This, I'll show you. Like that, all still phrased. Crisp fronts. Remember your mouthpiece pressure. 2 and 3 and. Thank you. I hope that helps. That was a lot in 90 seconds.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff.
Everybody.
We'll come back to you for a magic trick before the end. Just because, really. All right, let's do chromatics. We're going to start on a pedal C, so concert F, a 2-octave chromatic. Nice and simple. So there are various reasons as to why we do this one. Part of it is finger coordination speed. Part of it is coordinating your fingers with your tongue. For me, one of the really important ones in doing 2-octave anything is to try and keep a connection with my setup over the range. I want to have a setup that where I can go from the bottom to the top without having to manipulate, without having to change my setup in terms of the contact point with the mouthpiece and the stability of my corners. So a good one to help with this, and you can do it a little slower, is to flutter tongue these things. Flutter tonguing really forces us to stay nice and stable, and it forces us to engage our airstream. So anytime we're going over any little breaks, the flutter tonguing one can be really good. I've got a mini little break at the bottom of the stave, sort of bottom of the stave down to sort of middle C. That area is a little bit funky for me, and I can play it sort of a couple of ways. So I want to make sure that as I transition through that area, I'm staying really stable and making sure that my air is driving me through. So let's just try the F one, so concert B flat, but flutter tongue. For those of you who can't flutter tongue, we've said this before, sorry, it's not your fault. It's your parents' fault. So have a chat to your parents about that. Get them to get their act together. But but just play in that case. I would just play it slurred and really super connected, making sure that you're really feeling the engagement from here. So. Okay, all right, we'll do it. Fair enough. In the words of Charles Barkley, that was terrible. All right, terrific. So let's do a little bit of flexibility now. Really simple flexibility, focusing on the air creating the changes, air doing all the work, not a lot of manipulation from your face. Was that Blair that I saw? Hi, Blair. Or there you go. Good morning. Classic. All right, let's do a little bit of lip trills. So this one is not going to sound good. I mean, even relative to the other stuff that I play. So we're gonna start off with octaves, and this is a really good drill for me if I've got a lot of lip trill stuff coming up. Again, it goes to this thing of I want to make life as difficult as I can for myself, so that when I have to play the lip trills, things are much easier. So we're gonna start in octaves on the F horn. Excellent. And then we're going to start on, let's start on the G. So we're going to go G to C. Great. And then we're going to go, let's do G to B flat. Excellent. And then we're going to go C to D. And there you have your lip trills. So really good exercise for sort of increasing your flexibility, but really helping with the lip trills. The other one that we can do is starting from the other end of this, is just focusing on the beginning of the trill. So we just do that little oscillation. We do 4 of those. And then we go back to 2 of them. And then obviously you can increase that more and more, so that we're getting the practice of the actual movement between the notes, and gradually building that speed up, and then actually being able to start the trill. And you can combine those things. One thing with lip trilling is, please don't do a lot of practice, like in terms of time in any one session on this, because you will end up feeling pretty smashed in the face. Lip trills are generally, pretty hard work. So I would just, again, if you need to practice your lip trills, spread them out over several practice sessions rather than doing one big block of time on that skill. And that pretty much goes with anything. If you're trying to improve anything, you're much better off doing, if you do 4 practice sessions a day, better off doing a couple of minutes in each of those practice sessions than one block on that particular area. Same if you're learning a new piece. Learning a new piece, don't sit there for 20 minutes playing the piece. Break it up into little chunks and practice it multiple times during the day. It's much better for your brain. Your brain will work with you to help you learn it quicker. Okay. Jeff, have you got a... Is Jeff there? No, Jeff's gone. Okay. That was his magic trick. Where's Jeff? Gone. That's the thing. See, Jeff's just disappeared. 1 minute you see him, the next minute he's in California. Let's do. So for those of you who haven't done this one before, the first time we play it through slurred, we're just heading on the B flat horn, heading through the harmonic series. And then on once we get back to the beginning again, then we articulate from there. But we really make sure that the articulation is coming and instigated from here, just below the bottom of your ribs. That's where the work's happening. That's where things are articulating from. And your tongue is coordinating with that. It's not being driven by the tongue. Otherwise, it will sound like this. Which, you know, I mean, if you like that sort of thing, that's fine. But for me also, it makes it a lot less stable. I feel as though I'm doing a lot more work in my face, and I feel that my room for error is way less than if I'm thinking of articulating from here. So. Excellent. Let's do a little bit of huffing just to make sure that we're feeling where this area is. So. As bouncy as you can. Good, so that's to make sure that we're just staying engaged with this area and keeping this nice and flexible. Little scale pattern. So that was F major scale in horn in F sharp. Oh, sorry about that. All right, terrific. Do we have a volunteer for the elephant? Just put a smiley face or something on your screen if you want to be a volunteer. Wow. I'm scanning. I'm not finding anything. Come on, guys. Tyler. Tyler, the good sport. Thank you, Tyler. You're a bloody champion.
I try my best. Well, once I actually made it to the end of this. Okay. You said elephant, Andrew? I'll do one more.
Thank you, Tyler. Terrific. Excellent. Great to see you all. Have a great week. Thank you, everybody. And check us out, Invested Musician, on the Facebook page, I Am Community, all that good stuff on the website. I look forward to seeing a bunch of you at the Invested Musician course this week as our Bring a Friend week. So that'll be fun. We've got a lot of I think almost, if not all, all of the LA Phil principal people who are on the faculty are presenting this week. So it'll be a lot of fun this week. A lot of variety, a lot of cool things. All right, have a great week. Thanks, everyone. Bye.